RNC research, even Hakeem Jeffries, Timu Obama now admits President Trump's border security policies are working. Fancy that. CNN, can you give President Trump any credit for securing the border? And Jeffries even says the border is secure. Of course, he'll get credit.
Can you give President Trump any credit for securing the border? Because, as you know, that was a big issue under the Biden administration when you had record border crossings, those border crossings
there
have
was
gone
no
down
border
dramatically.
under
Can
Biden.
you give him credit for that?
The border is secure. That's a good thing. It's happened on his watch. He wants to claim credit for it. Of course, he'll get credit for that.
Well, yeah, you can't give it to anybody else. The Democrats they vehemently hate the border, and they went through every possible length to dismantle the border, as much of it that was put up, to the point where the Biden administration was selling off portions of the border wall. Remember that when they had the slats that were ready to be lifted and placed, and the Biden administration decided to sell it off as scrap for pennies on the dollar. And I think the Trump administration had to go back and rebuy that material back from the same companies that purchased them. It was absolutely ridiculous. Plus all the temporary border wall that the state of Texas tried to put up. They even had to resort to using metal containers, like the trailers of semis. And they had to roll out barbed wire and everything. And of course, federal judges, or it was either federal judges or it was the Biden administration themselves. They ordered the state of Texas to remove all of it. It's absolutely absurd. All right, so House Homeland GOP, October marked the lowest start to a fiscal year on record for nationwide border encounters by CBP. More on President Trump's success from Rep. Garbarino and Rep. Michael Guest in our newest border brief, which I will link that, and let's check this out. So the October marks the lowest start to a fiscal year ever for nationwide encounters. And fiscal year, what is that, 2026? Yeah, okay, yeah. So it says October fiscal year 2026 nationwide encounters 30,573. October fiscal year 2025 nationwide encounters. I wonder if this is off by a year. I don't really get it. So nationwide encounters 142,742. October fiscal year 2024 309,024. I have a feeling this might be a misprint. I mean, that doesn't make any sense because it ain't 2026 yet, at least not by my watch. All right, so U.S. Customs and Border Protection nationwide border encounters in October decreased 79% compared to October of 2024. 30,573. Yeah, that's obviously a typo. That was supposed to be 25, 24, and 23. So anyway, compared to October of 24, 30,573 versus 142,742. And the Southwest border encounters in October decreased by 89%, which was from 106,316 versus 11,710 compared to October of 24. In October open fiscal year 2025, not 6, marking the lowest start to a fiscal year in recorded history. Man, they misprinted the hell out of this. So U.S. Border Patrol apprehensions between ports of entry at the southwest border in October, 7,989, which decreased 86% compared to October in 2024, 56,515, which happened last year. In October, Border Patrol averaged 258 apprehensions a day on the southwest border, 95% lower than the daily average under the Biden administration. CBP encounters of inadmissible aliens at the northern border dropped 71% in October of this year, 4,340, compared to last year at 15,207. And also for the 6th month in a row, in October, the U.S. Border Patrol released 0 inadmissible aliens into American communities on parole, compared to the 10,009 inadmissible aliens that were released under the Biden-Harris administration last October. And of course, Kamala Harris was the border czar. So according to the Department of Homeland Security, threats and violence against immigration and customs enforcement and border patrol agents are on the rise compared to last year. Numbers, I think most recently they're throwing out 1,000% increase. So on October 9th, the U.S. Coast Guard launched Operation River Wall to secure approximately 260 miles of Rio Grande River that makes up a portion of our southwest border. The Coast Guard deployed watercraft, command center assets, and tactical teams to spearhead the patrol. So there you go, man. That's the border brief. Misprinted, but that's the border brief. Okay, CBP, securing the nation's borders, one arrest at a time. U.S. Border Patrol Chief LRT, Laredo Sector Border Patrol. The agents arrested a truck driver and 15 illegal aliens in a failed smuggling attempt. The driver failed to stop for secondary inspection and was pulled over. Inspection revealed 15 illegal aliens concealed in the sleeper compartment of the tractor and confirmation that the tractor was stolen. The driver is facing charges. Yeah, I would certainly hope so. They probably would have gotten away with it scot-free if not for President Trump's administration. So yeah, they're all busted. They obviously didn't hide all that well. I mean, I remember what was that earlier this year? I think it was like right after President Trump took back over. There was in the state of Texas, if I'm not mistaken, there was a hay bale truck that was caught smuggling illegals, and they had hollowed out the hay bales that were rolled up on the semi truck trailer, and they took images inside. I don't think that they took any images of people inside them. They were just photographing it after they had apprehended them, but they got at least a dozen people out of there. And yeah, so that happened. So, I mean, they were a little bit more clever than these idiots. All right, so Senate Republicans, Joe Biden let thousands of Afghans into our country after this disastrous withdrawal from that country without properly vetting them. This is a massive security risk. President Trump is right to halt all asylum claims until we can fix Biden's failure and protect Americans. This is going to be found on Fox News. And scroll on down. We'll see what this is all about. So first on Fox. All right, so U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents have arrested Afghan national John Shah Safi, an alleged ISIS-K supporter brought into the country under former President Joe Biden's Operation Allies Welcome in Waynesboro, Virginia. Safi was arrested as President Trump and his administration confront a surge of terror cases tied to Afghan arrivals that occurred under the Biden administration. The Department of Homeland Security said on Wednesday that Safi arrived in the U.S. on September 8th of 2021 in Philadelphia. He applied for temporary protected status, though his application was terminated when DHS Secretary Kristi Noem ended TPS for Afghans. And that's the individual right there. All right, so, quote, today our heroic ICE officers arrested John Shah Safi, a terrorist who provided material support to ISIS-K, Noem said in a news release. The Biden administration brought this terrorist into the U.S. under the disastrous Operation Allies Welcome program. This terrorist was arrested miles from our nation's capital, where our brave National Guard heroes, Sarah Beckstrom and Andrew Wolf, were shot just days ago by another unvetted Afghan terrorist brought into our country. The Biden administration created one of the worst national security crises in American history. Biden let into our country nearly 190,000 unvetted Afghan aliens, only determining who they were and their intentions when they were already on American soil. So basically just verbally asking them a few questions like, what's your purpose for being in the United States? Like, you know how they do, like in the movies when they're going through like the immigration checkpoint at the airport, probably asked just a couple of basic, simple questions and all right, move along. So anyway, President Trump has been working every day since January 20th to clean up this unmitigated national security crisis. And what's this image of? Okay, so refugees from Afghanistan being escorted to a waiting bus after arriving and being processed at Dulles International Airport in Dulles, Virginia. That was on August 23rd of 2021. And the DHS accused the Biden administration of relying on unvetted referrals to admit nearly 190,000 Afghan nationals into the U.S. The Trump administration put a stop to Afghan refugee resettlement after Trump returned to the Oval Office in January because it saw the program as a massive threat to national security. Safi's arrest marks the third of an Afghan national who was released into the country under Biden in less than a week, according to DHS. And that's the Lochinwall dude who shot the National Guardsman. So, which we already know that. November 25th, just a day before the attack, Mohammed Dawood Alakaze was arrested by local authorities and the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force after allegedly making bomb threats in Fort Worth. Alakaze allegedly posted a video on TikTok saying he was building a bomb and his intended target was the Fort Worth area. So anyway, all right, so there's that, and we will roll on to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Portland rioter, yeah, that dude looks like he's totally from Portland. John Paul Cupp faces criminal charges for allegedly threatening to kill ICE officers and essentially assault their wives. Cupp repeatedly posted threats on social media, including calling for war against the U.S., making anti-Semitic and violent threats, and referring to himself as Osama bin Laden. Yeah, this dude's a real genius. Caution, details and media in the threaded link below are not suitable for children and may be disturbing. Well, because we're on YouTube, I guess I'm just going to have to refrain from opening that up, I guess. But, you know, I kind of appreciate that they did put that disclaimer there. But what I will do is repost it. So you can check that out for yourself, or you can just go to ICE.gov, ICE dot, or no, not dot, just ICE.gov. And that's their handle on the X platform if you happen to be on there. And from Homeland Security, oh yeah, look at this. Proud dad and domestic terrorist. What an asshole. All right, so Homeland Security, if you are in this country illegally, we will hunt you down, arrest you, and lock you up. Operation Catahoula Crunch is in New Orleans to find the criminal illegal aliens who have taken refuge thanks to the city's sanctuary politicians. So what significance does this term have with New Orleans, if anything? Catahoula Crunch. Never heard that term. It's kind of a cringy name to name this operation, in my opinion, but I'm sure it's got some meaning behind it. I don't know. Maybe let me know in the comments. All right, so we'll give this a play on Fox News.
Border Patrol agents for what is being called Operation Catahoula Crunch. Here's senior correspondent Mike Tobin.
Yeah, SRT.
Maybe he's saying
we're in place now.
Border Patrol agents are now on the ground in New Orleans as President Trump's immigration enforcement efforts expand around the country. First, they stopped in the parking lots and storefronts where illegal migrants wait for day labor. Then a foot patrol through the French quarter.
When is the mission successful here in New Orleans?
Well, when all the illegal aliens leave New Orleans, when all those bad people, bad things, those criminal aliens, the child rapists, the terrorists, and all those individuals that we apprehend, when they're all gone, mission accomplished.
No ICE, no truth!
The agent's presence drew protesters to New Orleans City Council. Demonstrators disrupted and shouted until the public comment period in today's City Council meeting was shut down.
We'll be back! We'll be back!
On the street, Border Patrol agents encounter both hecklers and supporters.
It's just crazy. What are they looking for running down Bourbon Street, you know?
If they're enforcing law and order in the United States, that's a good thing.
I'm an immigrant. I'm from South Africa. I came here legally, in the legal way, in terms of my legal visa.
We are accepting South Africans
by the book.
So far, DHS says more than 20 illegal immigrants have been detained with crimes and suspected crimes ranging from battery to child endangerment. One man here illegally from Vietnam had been sentenced in the U.S. to 40 years for multiple crimes, including kidnapping, homicide, and aggravated assault.
You're under arrest.
He had been paroled. DHS promises he's now on his way back.
Under arrest. Get out of here.
It's different here than Chicago. The hostile incidents are limited thus far to City Council. On the streets, no riots, no tear gas. The difference seems to be state leadership that welcomes the agents, state and local police
of course
that promise to protect them on their mission. Brett?
Absolutely. That's what it is all about. It's the state leadership. It's just that simple. And the whole Home Depot thing with the laborers waiting outside, that reminds me of a video I saw a long time ago. I believe he's a comedian. I don't remember the guy's name, but his YouTube series of videos that he did, he called himself the Amazing Racist. It went like a number of his videos went viral. He was pretty popular like a decade ago or so, but he did a video where he drove up to a Home Depot and he picked up a bunch of illegal immigrants looking for work, and he drove them straight to the local Border Patrol office. It was so fucked up, man. As soon as he drove up into the parking lot, they just jumped out of the truck and they ran in all these different directions. And he was like shouting, he's like, "Hey, I got some. It was so fucked up, man. All right, anyway, so U.S. Southern Command, on December 4th, at the direction of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel in international waters operated by a designated terrorist organization. Intelligence confirmed that the vessel was carrying illicit narcotics and transiting along a known narco-trafficking route in the Eastern Pacific. 4 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel were killed. And again, that happened just today, so they immediately unclassified this. Probably not going to have sound. Never does. Yeah, dude, how is that not full of drugs, man? It so clearly looks like it's full of drugs. It ain't fishing gear. That's what it's not. And it doesn't look like a boat full of people trying to transport themselves from one place to the next. But I don't know. What do you think? I mean, do these look like bales of drugs? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Not sure what else it could be if it's not drugs. And so, yeah, that happened. How many did they say? 4. Yeah, there were 4 that were aboard the vessel. Okay, so U.S. Department of Justice International, I think, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, international. The official U.S. Department of Justice account focusing on international law enforcement. 19 people were arrested in the U.S. and in Colombia and in Ecuador and El Salvador in 4-year transnational visa fraud racketeering and money laundering scheme that defrauded thousands of Central and South American nationals seeking to work lawfully in the United States. And this was posted by Policia Ecuador 15 hours ago. It's been translated. International operation allows the arrest of, come on, man, why does Grok keep doing this? International operation allows the arrest of 8 members of a transnational network for illicit migrant trafficking. The Policia Ecuador, in coordination with international authorities, the State Department, DSS, and U.S. Embassy of Ecuador, executed the Gran Phoenix 57 operation, achieving the dismantling of an organization dedicated to illicit migrant trafficking, fraud, and the use of false documentation. Through the exchange of information, it was established that this network operated in the cities of UIO, not familiar with UIO, Guayaquil, Tolcan, Ambato, and Pollo, maintaining international links in Colombia, El Salvador, and EEUU. 20 mobile terminals, 3,000 USD in cash, 34 cartridges, and some documentation. And we also have a video. Damn. Make it look so easy. $2 bills. Okay. Well, all right. And according to the story, some of them were also arrested here in the U.S. According to the U.S. Department of Justice International. Yep, in the U.S. Okay. From U.S. Department of State, INL. Let's see. INL advises the President, Secretary of State, and USG on policies, programs to combat international narcotics and crime. So, El Tren de Aragua inflicts violence. We impose consequences. We increase the reward to $5 million in exchange for information that results in the arrest and or conviction of the Tren de Aragua leader, Giovanni Vincente Mosquera Serrano. Share your tip with the FBI by calling 1-281-787-9939 and help bring justice to the victims of Tren de Aragua violence. And it's up to $5 million. That's the image there. And yeah, man, that's a hell of a payday if you know where this dude is. All right. From the White House, TDS has taken on so many forms, but supporting global narco-terrorists is a new low. And according to AMAC, liberals side with bloodthirsty narco-terrorists in a crusade to, quote-unquote, get Trump. Trump derangement syndrome has led to the corporate media, Democrats, and even some wayward Republicans to take some truly despicable public stances over the years. But defending narco-terrorists attempting to flood American communities with deadly poison may be a new low even for the never-Trump crowd. Okay. So I guess everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Okay, so the White House, Afghan terrorist who was released into the U.S. under Biden's disastrous Operation Allies Welcome program, arrested just miles from our nation's capital, which we did get to that, but this came from the White House. Quote, "We will fix it, but we will never forget what crooked Joe Biden and his thugs did to our country," President Donald J. Trump. So yeah, old dude's arrested. And House Foreign Affairs Committee, and I believe that's majority, if I'm not mistaken, or GOP, House Foreign Affairs Committee, GOP, for too long, the Muslim Brotherhood has posed a threat to American national security. It's good that President Trump is moving to designate them as terrorists. And here in Congress, we are moving to sanction them and restrict their ability to operate in America.
I want to thank my colleague and fellow Florida representative, Representative Mauro Diaz-Balart, for leading this important and timely bill to sanction the Muslim Brotherhood and restrict its ability to operate within the United States of America. For years, our partners across the Middle East have been warning of the threat of this organization and what it poses. Initially established in Egypt in the late 1920s, it's grown into a transnational organization with chapters around the world. This is more than just a political organization. It promotes extreme and destabilizing views which continue to inspire acts of terrorism across the globe, including most notably Hamas and its horrific October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, in which 1,200 civilians were killed, over 1,200. And as the Trump administration noted in its recent executive order, these links were further underscored after October 7, 2023, when the Lebanese chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood worked hand in glove with Hamas, Hezbollah, and other Palestinian terrorists to launch direct attacks against Israel, furthering its October 7 aim. More recently, a Muslim Brotherhood affiliate in Jordan was implicated in a plot to destabilize this critical regional security partner. The plot, according to Jordanian government officials, similarly involved members of the Muslim Brotherhood's Lebanon chapter who were reportedly manufacturing weapons and training militants to target sites in Jordan, which, if successful, would have been a substantial blow to the Jordanian people and a major counterterrorist risk. For too long, the threat the Muslim Brotherhood poses to U.S. national security has been downplayed here in the United States, and it's well past time for course correction. I urge my colleagues to robustly support this bill and finally put in place much-needed measures to address this very real and increasingly prevalent threat.
All right, and I think I have one more during this hearing. Maybe not. Maybe this is unrelated, but it's from the same account. So in the United States, everyone is paid based on knowledge, experience, and work ethics. And as an added bonus, we don't even require hijabs or administer beatings for improper wear. And they're responding to Khamenei.ir. How many? Yeah, too many followers. I'm assuming he's the leader, right? Hold on. News message statements from Imam Saeed al-Khamenei. Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, whatever. I can't pronounce his name. Anyway, in many Western countries today, women are paid less than men for doing the same work. That's how they are today, which is totally unjust. And it got community noted. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Iran has a greater gender inequality than the entire West, which I'm sure, quite positive that they do. At Grok, what is the punishment for women in Iran who refuse to wear the hijab? Under Iran's 2024, so this is recent, 2024 hijab and chastity law, women not wearing the hijab face fines from 15 million to 500 million riyals, which ranges from $24 to $790, escalating up to 1.5 billion riyals. Also, travel and online bans and prison up to 5 to 15 years for repeats. Severe cases may invoke the death penalty under corruption on earth. A recent Supreme Leader directive calls for stricter enforcement, though many women continue to defy it. Wow, man. That's ruthless. I mean, he's got a lot of nerve saying what he's saying. Okay, DEA HQ, 7,024 total arrests. They finally broke 7,000 arrests. And, I mean, like, ideally, you want the number to slow down. Like, eventually, you want this number to stop. We don't want it to get to, like, 1 million or anything. I mean, like, obviously, it would be great if it just... I mean, and it has. It's slowed down a lot. Like, from the time it was 6,000 to the time reaching 7,000, it had to have been at least a month, maybe even longer than a month. So anyway, and this is in D.C. So every badge, every partner, every agency standing shoulder to shoulder in Washington, D.C., DEA is taking poison off our streets and saving lives. Make D.C. safe again, Justice Department and the White House. 666 illegal guns seized. Make D.C. safe again. And CBP, let's see, the CBP officers at the San Yesirdo port of entry seized just over 57 pounds of fentanyl powder concealed inside of a vehicle. That is equivalent to over 2.6 million fentanyl pills that could have hit the streets. And there it is. And that's what it was concealed in.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.